He was 11 years old. No parents. No home. No one in the world who knew his name. He slept in doorways. He ate what he could find. He had learned, in 3 years of being completely alone, that the world did not stop for children who had nobody. Then on a Wednesday morning he saw the car. Brakes failed. Slope. A woman crossing the road who hadn't seen it coming. He had 3 seconds. He used all 3. He ran. He planted his feet. He put his hands on the bonnet of a car that weighed 40 times what he did. And he pushed. The car stopped. The woman was safe. And the boy, the 11-year-old boy with no name that anyone knew, collapsed on the road. The woman who knelt beside him was worth $4 billion. She didn't know that yet was the least important thing about the next 5 minutes. She took his face in her hands and said, "You saved my life. What's your name?" He looked at her and said the saddest thing she had ever heard. "I don't think anyone needs to know that." She decided, in that moment, that she was going to prove him wrong. The hill on Carver Street had always been too steep for the junction at the bottom. Everyone who lived on it knew this. The city council had been informed twice in the last 4 years. The matter was under review, which was the particular administrative language for we know and we haven't done anything, and we probably won't for a while. The boy knew the hill because he knew every street in this part of the city. The way people know things they have learned through necessity rather than choice, completely, practically, without affection. He knew which doorways stayed dry in the rain, which markets threw out food at what time, which streets were safe at which hours, and which ones weren't. He was sitting on the steps of the post office at 8:40 in the morning, eating half a bread roll he had found behind the bakery on Mercer Street, when he heard it. The particular sound of brakes failing, not a screech, which was the sound of brakes working, but the absence of a screech, which was the sound of something going wrong in a specific and irreversible way. He looked up. The car was a large dark saloon, moving too fast down the hill with the particular momentum of something that had lost its argument with gravity. The driver, visible through the windscreen, face a study in controlled panic, was pumping a brake pedal that was no longer connected to any useful outcome. At the bottom of the hill, stepping off the pavement into the junction with the particular unhurried confidence of someone who had checked both ways and found them clear, was a woman. Dark coat, laptop bag over one shoulder, the focused expression of someone thinking about something else entirely. She had not heard the car. The car was going to reach her in approximately 3 seconds. The boy was 20 feet away. He did not think about it. He was running before he had finished not thinking about it, across the pavement, off the curb. The bread rolled somewhere behind him, his feet finding the road with the particular speed of a child whose body was considerably more capable than its size suggested. He reached her in 1 second. He had 2 seconds left. He did the only thing available. Put both hands on the front panel of the car, planted his feet on the wet road, and pushed with everything he had, which was not much in absolute terms, but was, in the specific geometry of the moment, exactly enough to change the angle by the 3 feet required. The car went past him. It hit the bollard at the corner of the junction, A controlled impact. The kind that produced noise and damage and no casualties. The boy sat down on the road. Not by choice. His legs had apparently decided, now that the immediate problem was resolved, to take a moment. The woman was standing 3 feet away, unharmed, with the expression of someone whose brain was still processing the gap between what had been about to happen and what had actually happened. She looked at the car. She looked at the bollard. She looked at the boy sitting on the road. She crossed to him in 4 steps and knelt down, not hesitantly, not with the careful distance of someone performing concern, but with the complete, immediate attention of a person who understood that something significant had just happened and that the most important thing in front of her was this child. She took his face in her hands. "Are you hurt?" she said. "No," he said. His hands were shaking slightly. He put them flat on the road to stop them. "You pushed the car," she said. "It was going to hit you," he said. "You're 11 years old," she said. 12 in March, he said. She looked at him, at the thin jacket, the worn shoes, the bread roll that had rolled to a stop 6 feet away, the complete absence of any adult anywhere in the vicinity who appeared to be associated with this child. "Where are your parents?" she said. He looked at the road. "I don't have any," he said. "Who are you with?" "Nobody," he said. "I'm fine." "You should check the driver." "The driver is fine," she said. She had glanced. The driver was out of the car, shaken but standing, already on his phone. "What's your name?" He looked at her for a long moment. "I don't think anyone needs to know that," he said. She looked at this boy, this 11-year-old boy who had run into the road and stopped a car with his hands and was now sitting on the wet tarmac. Telling her his name wasn't important, and felt something happen in her chest that she would not be able to articulate for several days, but that she understood immediately and completely as a decision. "My name is Claire," she said. "Claire Ashworth." He looked at her. "I know that name," he said. "Most people do," she said. "What's yours?" A long pause. "Eli," he said. "Eli Ward." "Eli," she said. "Can you stand up?" "Yes," he said. "Then stand up," she said, "and come with me." She put him in the back of the replacement car, the one her driver had called while she was still kneeling on the road, with the particular decisiveness of someone who had made a decision and was not going to revisit it on the pavement. He sat with his hands in his lap and looked out the window at the city moving past and did not ask where they were going, which she noticed. "You're not going to ask where we're going," she said. "You seem like someone who knows what they're doing," he said. "I do," she said. "We're going to get you checked by a doctor. Then we're going to talk." "I'm fine," he said. "You pushed a car," she said. "You're going to see a doctor." He looked out the window. "You're very direct." "Yes," she said. "Is that a problem?" "No," he said. "I like it. People who aren't direct usually want something." She looked at him. "How long have you been on your own?" She said. 3 years, he said, to the window. "Since you were 8. "Yes." "What happened to your parents?" A pause. "My mother died when I was 6. My father when I was 8. He said it plainly, not without feeling, but with the feeling carried correctly, the way people carry things they have been carrying for a long time. There wasn't anyone else. No family. There was an uncle, he said. He didn't want me. Claire looked at him, at the profile of an 11-year-old boy telling her the architecture of 3 years of complete aloneness in the tone of someone giving directions. Where have you been living? She said. Different places, he said. I know the city well. I imagine you do, she said. I'm not a problem, he said. I want to be clear about that. I'm not going to be a problem for you. I didn't think you were, she said. Most people think children without parents are problems, he said. Or projects, or things that need to be managed. He turned to look at her for the first time since the car. I'm not any of those things. I'm just a person. I know, she said. You say that like you mean it, he said. I do mean it, she said. He looked at her for a long moment, with the assessment of a child who had learned to read people quickly and accurately, and whose conclusions had survival implications. All right, he said, and turned back to the window. The doctor confirmed what Claire had suspected. Bruised hands, mild strain in both wrists, nothing broken, nothing that wouldn't heal in a week with rest and food. The food part was the thing the doctor mentioned twice. He's underweight, she said, quietly. In the corridor, not dangerously, but he's been managing on not enough for a while. Claire nodded. She took Eli to her office, not because it was the obvious place to take an 11-year-old she had just met, but because it was where she was going when the car came down the hill, and because she had decided, somewhere between the road and the replacement car, that keeping him in her vicinity until she understood the situation was the correct course of action. He sat in the chair across from her desk and looked at the office with the comprehensive assessment. He brought to everything: the books on the shelves, the view from the window, the particular organized chaos of a desk that was used by someone who thought quickly and in multiple directions simultaneously. You run the company, he said. Yes, she said. Ashworth Group, he said. Infrastructure and development, founded by your grandfather, inherited by your father, passed to you 6 years ago when he died. A pause. You're the youngest person to run a company this size in the country's history. You made the changes to the Eastern Development last year that everyone said wouldn't work. They worked. She looked at him. I read, he said. Libraries are warm. You read financial news, she said. I read everything, he said. Financial news, science journals, history, novels, whatever's available. He looked at the bookshelf. You have 3 books on infrastructure development I haven't read yet. You can borrow them, she said. He looked at her. Why are you being kind to me? Because you saved my life, she said. That doesn't require kindness, he said. Most people would say thank you and leave. I'm not most people, she said. No, he said. You're not. He turned to the window. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking about what happens to me next. Yes, she said. I've been managing. You've been surviving, she said. That's not the same thing. He was quiet. Eli, she said. How would you feel about not being alone for a while? He looked at her. Define a while. He said she had a guest room. She had, in fact, 4 guest rooms, none of which had been used in the 8 months since she had moved into the house. Because Claire Ashworth worked 17 hours a day and had not, in the 6 years since her father died and she had taken over the company, prioritized the kind of social life that required guest rooms. Eli stood in the doorway of the first one and looked at it with an expression. She was beginning to recognize the comprehensive assessment, followed by the careful neutrality of someone who had learned not to show what they felt about things until they understood whether those feelings were safe. "This is for me," he said. "Yes," she said. "It's very large," he said. "I know," she said. "Is that a problem?" "No," he said. "It's just large." He went in, sat on the edge of the bed with the careful posture of someone who was not sure yet whether sitting fully on it was permitted, looked at the window, the city below, the lights, the particular view that cost a significant amount of money and that Eli was looking at, with the expression of someone calculating how many nights he had spent looking at that same city from the ground. "I want to be useful," he said. "I don't want to just be here. I want to contribute something." "You can contribute by getting some sleep," she said. "That's not a contribution," he said. "It is when you're 11 and you've been pushing cars," she said. He almost smiled. "Almost, Claire," he said. "Yes." "Why are you doing this?" he said. "Really? Not because I saved your life. Really?" She leaned against the door frame and looked at him, at the 11-year-old boy with the bruised hands and the too old eyes and the library-educated mind and the 3 years of complete aloneness carried in his posture. "Because," she said, "someone should have done it a long time ago. And I'm here now, and I'd like to." He looked at her for a long moment. "All right," he said. "Go to sleep," she said. "All right," he said again. She closed the door. She stood in the corridor for a moment. Then she went to her study and sat at her desk and did not work, which was unprecedented, and thought about a boy who had told her his name wasn't important, and who had eaten half a bread roll for breakfast, and who had said, "I don't want to just be here," with the dignity of someone who had never, in his life, been allowed to just be anywhere. Morning was up before her. She came down at 6 to find him at the kitchen table with one of the infrastructure books from her office, which he had apparently retrieved at some point, open in front of him, a glass of water beside it, reading with the focused concentration of someone for whom reading was not a leisure activity but a primary mode of engaging with the world. He looked up when she came in. "Page 47, he said. "The load distribution model. There's an error." She stopped. "I'm sorry." "The calculation on page 47, he said. "The author has used the wrong variable for soil compression. It doesn't affect the conclusion, but it's wrong." He turned the book toward her and pointed. She looked. He was right. She looked at him. "I told you I read everything," he said. "You found an error," she said, "in a published infrastructure textbook. It's a small one," he said. But yes, she sat down across from him. How? She said. I read a paper on soil compression in a science journal 3 months ago, he said. Different numbers. I remembered. You remembered the numbers from a science journal? She said. I remember most things I read, he said, with the matter-of-fact tone of someone reporting a fact rather than displaying an ability. It's useful. She looked at him for a long moment. Eli, she said, single quotes, yes. Have you ever been to school? Until I was 8, he said. Yes, and since? Libraries, he said, and things I've figured out. What things? He listed them. Mathematics through calculus, which he had taught himself from a textbook he had found in a donation box. Physics. Chemistry. History. For languages, English, French, Spanish, and enough Mandarin to read basic texts, which he had learned because the library had good Mandarin resources, and he had been curious. She listened to the list and thought about 3 years and libraries and a boy who had filled the absence of everything with knowledge because knowledge was the one thing that could be acquired for free. Eli, she said, when he finished. Yes, I'd like you to stay, she said. Not just for now, for as long as you want. And I'd like to find you a school, a proper one that can keep up with you. He looked at the book. You don't have to, I know, she said. I want to. She paused. There's a difference. He looked at her. You said that yesterday, he said, about being kind. It's still true, she said. What do you get from this? He said, not suspiciously, genuinely. The question of a child who had learned that things offered without obvious return were usually more complicated than they appeared. I get, she said carefully, to know what happens next. To someone who found an error in a textbook at 6 in the morning after sleeping in a proper bed. For the first time in 3 years. She paused. That seems worth quite a lot to me. He was quiet for a long time. I'll think about it, he said. Take your time, she said. Can I finish the book first? Yes, she said. I'll make breakfast. What he told her at breakfast. Not formally. He was not, she had learned in 18 hours. A formal person despite the precision of everything he said. He told her between the toast and the eggs. In the practical way he did everything. Yes, he said. I'll stay. She set down her coffee. Single quotes good. I have conditions, he said. Tell me, she said. I contribute, he said. I'm not a guest. I help with things. Whatever needs doing. All right. I go to school, he said. A real one. Not something designed for children who need managing. Something that will actually, he paused. Something that will actually be useful. I know exactly the right place, she said. I've been thinking about it since 6 this morning. You've been thinking about my school since 6 this morning, he said. Since 5:47, she said. When I heard you in the kitchen. He looked at her. You're very organized. I run a $4 billion company, she said. I know, he said. I read about it. He picked up his toast. Third condition. Yes, you tell me the truth, he said. About everything. If something isn't working, if you change your mind, if this becomes, if it becomes something you didn't intend? He looked at her directly. I've had people change their minds before. It's worse when they don't say so. She held his gaze. I will always tell you the truth, she said. That is a promise I will keep. He nodded once. All right, he said. Those are my conditions. I accept them, she said. Good, he said, and went back to his toast with the complete focus of someone who had resolved the matter and was moving on. She looked at this boy across her kitchen table, this 11-year-old, who had negotiated his own terms with the precision of a contract lawyer and the dignity of someone who had learned that his terms were the only protection he had, and thought about what her father had said to her once when she was young and frightened of something she couldn't name. Some people, he had said, arrive in your life at exactly the right moment. The trick is to recognize them. She recognized him. The school was called Meridian. It was not, as schools went, a particularly famous one. It did not have the centuries of history that the expensive schools advertised, did not have the particular social currency that certain institutions traded in. What it had was a faculty that was genuinely interested in learning rather than performance, a curriculum flexible enough to meet students where they were, and a headmistress named Dr. Okafor who had been told about Eli over the phone by Claire and had said, after a long pause, bring him in on Monday. I'd like to meet him. The meeting lasted 2 hours. Claire waited outside. She was not a person who waited for things. She had spent 20 years moving through the world at a pace that did not require waiting. She sat in a chair outside Dr. Okafor's office and waited for 2 hours and thought about Eli on the other side of the door, and whether he was all right and whether the school would understand what they were being given. Eli came out at 11:15 with Dr. Okafor and the expression of someone who had found something they had been looking for. He starts Wednesday, Dr. Okafor said, and to Eli, we'll find the right level. Don't worry about that. I'm not worried, Eli said. I'm interested. Dr. Okafor looked at Claire with an expression that said several things at once, all of them positive. In the car on the way back, Eli was quiet for a while. Then she showed me the science lab, and it has a mass spectrometer, he said. A real one. I know, Claire said. I've only read about those, he said. Now you'll use one, she said. He was quiet again. Claire, he said. Single quotes, yes. Thank you, he said. For the school. A pause. For all of it. You're welcome, she said. I don't say that easily, he said. Thank you? I mean it fully. I know you do, she said. That's why it matters. The house changed. Not dramatically. Not in the way that houses change when people are trying to make them something they weren't. In the way that spaces change when they are lived in by someone who is genuinely present in them. Books appeared on shelves that had been decorative, Ellie's, mixed in with hers, the particular evidence of a shared space. Notes appeared on the kitchen whiteboard, his handwriting, precise and small, reminders and observations and occasional questions left for her to find in the morning. The variable on page 47 of the Hartley book is also wrong in the appendix. Just so you know, She had written under it, "I'll call the publisher." He had written under that, "I already emailed them." She had framed that exchange. It was on her office wall. He came home from school on Thursdays with the particular energy of someone for whom Thursdays were good days, chemistry lab days. He had told her, with the focused enthusiasm of a person who had found their thing and was inside it. He would eat dinner and tell her about the experiment, and she would ask questions, and he would answer them with the precision of someone who understood that a good question deserved a complete answer. She had started leaving the office earlier on Thursdays. She had not examined this closely. Mrs. Hartley, the housekeeper, who had been with Claire for 4 years and had the particular discretion of someone who understood her employer well, had observed the Thursday pattern and said nothing except once to her sister on the phone, "She's different. Better. There's a boy." A boy, her sister had said. A child, Mrs. Hartley had clarified. An extraordinary one. One Thursday evening, 6 months in, Eli came home with a letter. He set it on the kitchen table while Claire was making tea, which she had learned to do correctly, which Eli had taught her with the patient precision of someone who found her previous method genuinely distressing. She looked at the letter. Meridian Academic Excellence Award, presented to Eli Ward. "They give this every year," Eli said, to one student. "I know," she said. "Dr. Okafor told me you were being considered." "You knew," he said. "Since last month," she said. "I didn't say anything because I didn't want to. I didn't want you to feel pressure." He looked at the letter. "My father would have liked this," he said, quietly, not performing it, just saying it. "Tell me about him," she said. And he did. He asked it on a Sunday evening in February. They had been in the living room, her with a document, him with a book. The comfortable shared silence that had become the texture of Sunday evenings in this house. The city was quiet outside. The heating was on. The particular warmth of a space that was properly occupied. "Claire," he said. Single quotes, "Yes." He set down his book. "I want to ask you something, and I want you to answer honestly, even if you think the honest answer will upset me." She set down her document. "Ask, are you going to adopt me?" he said. She looked at him. "I've been thinking about it," he said. "The legal situation. I've been looked into the process. I understand what it involves." He held her gaze. "I'm asking because I want to know what you're thinking, not what you think I want to hear." "I've been thinking about it too," she said, "since the second week. And I was waiting," she said, "to make sure it was what I wanted for the right reasons. Not because I felt responsible. Not because of the car." She paused. "Because of you. Because of who you are. And because this house is better with you in it. And because I would very much like, for it to be permanent." He was quiet for a long time. "I've been alone for 3 years," he said. "I'm good at it. I know you don't need it," she said. "That's not why I'm offering." "Why are you offering?" "Because," she said, "you emailed a publisher about a textbook error. Because you found the mass spectrometer. Because you leave notes on the whiteboard that make me laugh before I've had coffee." She looked at him. "Because you're mine already," Eli. "In every way that matters. I'd just like it to be official." He looked at his book. "I'd like that too," he said, very quietly. "Yes? Yes," he said. And then, with the particular precision he brought to everything that mattered, "I'd like that very much." The paperwork took for months. Eli had opinions about the paperwork, had read the relevant legislation, and had 3 suggestions for the process that the solicitor had received, with the expression of someone who had never had an 11-year-old client and was recalibrating rapidly. On the day it was finalized, a Tuesday, because things in their life had a habit of happening on Tuesdays, Claire came home to find Eli in the kitchen with a cake. Not a bought cake, a made one, slightly uneven, with the particular character of something produced by someone who had read extensively about baking and was now testing the theory against the practice. "You made a cake," she said. "I've been reading about baking," he said. "It's applied chemistry. Is it good?" "I don't know yet," he said. "I haven't tasted it." She sat at the kitchen table. He cut to slices. They tasted it. "It's good," she said. "The texture could be better," he said. The butter temperature was slightly off. "Eli," she said. "Yes, it's good," she said again. He looked at the cake. "Yes," he said. "It is." She looked at him, at the boy who had stopped a car with his bare hands on a Wednesday morning and who had negotiated his own terms at a kitchen table and who had found an error in a textbook and used a mass spectrometer and left notes on a whiteboard and made a cake on a Tuesday because something important had become official. "Eli Ward Ashworth," she said. He looked at her. "How does that sound?" she said. He was quiet for a moment. "It sounds," he said, "like something that was always going to happen." She held out her hand. He took it, with the same hands that had stopped a car, that had turned pages in cold libraries, that had pointed to an error on page 47, that had made a slightly uneven cake on a Tuesday. Outside, the city moved and hummed and continued doing what cities do. Inside, a woman and a boy sat at a kitchen table with cake and the particular warmth of something that had started on a Wednesday morning with bare hands and a hill and had arrived through all the right steps exactly here.